mastering the path to data analysis. So I would really prefer that this runs like a chat session, right, where we are basically discussing, right? So I'll try as much as possible not to be theoretical or technical, right, and just try to have, you know, a good time with you guys, to have a discussion with you guys. So I'll just share my screen now so that we can just go right into it. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to bring up my screen. Okay. Yeah. Please, can you confirm that you can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. I need to do something. Okay. Can you wait? Can you see it now?
Yes, yes, we can. We can.
Yeah. Okay. The projected view, not just the PowerPoint view.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So mastering the path to data analysis. So quickly, Tosi has done a brief of, or has done a good job at the introduction, so I may not really have much to say. So I currently work with KPMG, senior associate in the analytics and operations department, and my journey in data analysis started, let's say, 6 years back, right? So just an update to, you know, what she had earlier mentioned. This was in 2019 when I started, but not with KPMG, actually, with a different organization for KPMG. So along the line, I just realized that I had a passion for data. I had a passion, you know, to be detailed, you know, asking questions and to be critical about stuff, right? And then I, you know, got in touch with data analysis, attended some webinars just like you're attending today, you know, had to discuss with people, and then I made a decision that I was actually going into data analysis. So that was how the journey started. I started with I started with Tableau, right? Then from Tableau I moved on into Power BI. But before Tableau and Power BI, you know, I tried as much as possible to, you know, improve my Excel skills. Well, along the line, I'll, you know, talk a bit more on this aspect, right, of the tools for data analysis. So that was how the journey started. I got into KPMG, and then I did actually start KPMG as a data analyst. I started in a different role entirely, but along the line, you know, this thing, as far as it's there, it's there. It doesn't die. You know, it doesn't fade as long as you keep watering it. So I discussed with my boss, and then eventually I transited into, you know, my current unit. Um this was a few months after I joined KPMG, right? And then after that, it's been amazing, you know, being in a place where you really, really want to be, you know, doing the things that you really, really want to do. Because my previous role was more like an operational role, right? You're doing the same thing over and over again. I'm not saying it's bad. There are some people who will thrive there, right? But for my kind of person, you know, having the ability to solve problems, you know, to design solutions, design thinking, ideation, and the rest, to create something, to make sense out of things, I knew that I needed to, you know, make an advancement, which was what I did. I took that step, and I am where I am today. And it's just been wonderful. So that's just a brief introduction of me. And I know I missed the part where each and every one of us, we were introduced and we talked about something interesting about ourselves, right? But I hope that along the way in the question and answer section, I'll get to, you know, hear you speak as well. So a brief introduction. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, I can clearly.
Okay. Okay, can you see my second slide now?
Steps to master data analysis skills and tools. Just that.
Oh, okay, okay. It's not. I think I know what the problem is. What the problem is. Sorry, please hold on. Maybe I should present my full screen. Okay, I think that's what I will do. So I think I'll share my full screen. Entire screen. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So can you see
Yeah.
a brief introduction?
Yes.
Yeah. So as to the topic of the day, the importance of data analysis in today's business landscape, right? Majorly, to simplify the whole thing, is the whole purpose of data analysis is to drive informed decision making. You do not want to make decisions out of assumptions. You do not want to make decisions based on your sentiments. You cannot afford to be subjective as a business owner, right? To actually stand out, from your peers, right? To be in the leading role. Of your business climb, you just have to make the correct decisions. You have to make the right decisions, right? The second one is uncovering actionable insights. And then the third one is improve business, performance, making sense of your data. We'll go into the details of, these 3 points, as we go on. So basically, this chat is focused on empowering participants with knowledge and skills needed to excel in data analysis, and leverage data-driven strategies effectively. So what I really want to see from you guys is, at the end of the day, at the end of this session, it is clear to you, right? Um, um, what you should be prepared for, right? There are no uncertainties around this career path. You know what to do, and then you know what to expect, what businesses expect from you. What companies want to see, right? If you are if you're maybe in search of a new job, or you want to change your career, or something, it makes, so the whole focus of this session is to make it clearer for you and easy for you, right, to navigate through. So data analysis. So what is data?
Emeka, if you're speaking, I think we lost you there. Can anybody see you, Emeka? Okay, but we can hear me, right? Can we all hear me? All right.
Yes.
Okay, he's back. All right, let's just give him a few. Okay, let's just give him a few minutes. All right. So while we await Emeka's network, I guess that's network. So while we await Emeka's return, can we just can I have one or two persons share with us? I mean, is our expectation from this webinar today? I believe that when you joined or before you joined, you had something to learn. I mean, something you were hoping to get from here. You didn't just join. So can we have one person? Volunteer yourself, or I call somebody. Tell us something you're looking to learn from this session today. Or do I pick someone? Anybody? Okay, I guess I'm going to pick them. Noble, can you share with us your expectation from today's session, please?
Okay, so basically, I decided to change my major from what I was doing, neuroscience, but now I'm doing statistics. So my future goal is to become a proficient in data analysis and data science. So basically, I'm just trying to lay the foundation before I start the course itself.
Awesome. So it's more like you're trying to just get your footing right, yeah?
Exactly.
All right, awesome. I can tell you that you're at the right place. Okay, can I get one more person? See, guys, like I said at the beginning, I think Emeka mentioned it's an interactive session, right? Feel free to talk. Feel free to. It's a webinar. Yes, I understand. We can't see ourselves, but feel free to talk. If you have something to ask, like I mentioned before, you have something to contribute. Yes, you might not be able to mute your mic just so you don't interrupt the session, but you can type in the comment section, right? Feel free, guys. Feel free. I'm beginning to think like it's like the UI UX guys are always hyping or always coming with the full force but data analysis. Okay, I think Becca just dropped something. Becca Oluson says, I'm hoping to know the challenges we might face as we are new into data analytics and how we can overcome that. Okay, awesome. I like this. The fact that she knows that there probably will be challenges and she wants to know them ahead of time, right? And then know how to tackle them even before they arrive. That's a brilliant one. Nice one, Becca. Anybody else? Yeah, Missy. I can see Olebioluwa. Yeah, Missy. Do you have something to tell us?
Actually, I know I joined the class very late. All I just want to know at the start is knowing how these data are being generated, how we take like how filter data, because I'm sure it's not all of them that will actually make sense, and how these data are being analyzed. Like those are the major things, that little things that I really want to know.
Okay, so how to get data, how to analyze data, right? And then how to probably filter, was that your word? Filter or
Yeah.
purify data, right? Awesome. So you can just pen this down or put it in the chat box so that okay, our speaker is back, so that he
Hello,
can
yeah.
see and then incorporate. All right, welcome back,
Yeah.
Emeka.
Sorry about that. My internet went off.
No problems at all.
Yeah.
All
So
right. What?
please,
Okay.
where did you lose me?
We were still, I think the brief introduction, you were towards, I think the end part, right?
Oh, okay. So I was actually speaking, thinking I was connected. Anyways,
Sorry about that. But please, you can just keep your mic. Oh God, please mute your mic. Okay.
okay.
He doesn't have nickel, but he's wearing stuff.
Yeah. Can you see my screen now?
The brother will go. Help me call him upstairs.
Can you see my screen now?
Lecture. So help me call him upstairs. Why?
Hello.
That's not Dutch.
Can you see my screen?
Yes,
I'm into
yes.
computer now. It's test.
Yes, we can.
IT.
Okay. I think someone's
Data
mic is
analysis.
not
Data
muted.
analysis. Data analysis. Yes, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I did data analysis back at university. Okay. Me, I did this admin.
Okay, we can go on now. Someone's screen was open. All right. All right. Sorry about earlier. Okay, I will just brush through it again. So did we get the part where I was explaining what data analysis is?
Yeah, yeah. I did from my end.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much. So I think I'll just continue from here. Types of data analysis. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so types of data analysis. So there are four types, basically. There's the descriptive analysis, there is the diagnostic analysis, predictive analysis, and prescriptive analysis. So starting from descriptive analysis, right, is like taking a snapshot of data, describing what happened. You are trying to describe, you are trying to understand what has happened. You are trying to understand why sales has been low, trying to understand why at a particular month you've not, there has been a reduction in customers walking into the supermarket. So that's what descriptive analysis speak to. And this can actually be done using pre-existing data, historic data that has been gathered over time. So if you want to really understand the business, let's say you get into a new position, let's say an executive role, and you really want to understand the business, it helps you to actually, because understanding the past, helps us to make critical decisions for the future. And then you gather data, you try to get insights on what has been happening in that company for the past 2, 3, 5, 10, 30 years, as the case may be, right? So this is where descriptive analysis comes into play. And then there is diagnostic analysis. So it's like investigating why something happened. So having understood, so from the descriptive analysis, having understood what has happened, you now want to know why. Why has this happened, right? So if in the month of, let's say, over time, over the past 10 years, you've noticed that during the summer, there has been maybe low sales, and this has been a trend for the past 10 years, and you now want to go further after finding that this has been a trend. You now want to now investigate further to understand why this has happened over the past 10 years, right? So that is where diagnostic analysis comes into play, investigating why something happened, just like solving a mystery, to find a culprit, to actually know who actually, for example, committed the murder. I don't know how many of you used to watch this channel on DSTV, ID. It's, they are always investigating one murder or one incident or the other. Yeah. So this is a brief explanation of what diagnostic analysis is. And then predictive analysis, having understood the past, now you want to make predictions. You want to tell what's going to happen in the future, right? So because it's very possible, if you've been able to gather data for the past 10 years and you can clearly see that during the summer, right, around July, August, September period, you can actually see that sales are low within this period. Most likely it's going to be the same thing next year. It's going to be the same thing next 2 years. It's going to be the same thing next 3 years, provided that all factors, remains all, provided that all factors, are constant. All external factors are actually constant, right? So predictive analysis is like using clues from the past to predict future. To predict future events, similar to predicting the weather based on patterns. You've understood patterns, right? You can clearly predict, which is why currently, also for in Nigeria, there are 2 seasons: the rainy season and Harmattan season. It is not prophecy, or maybe you are trying to do too much when you can boldly say that during October, November, December, that there's going to be Harmattan. No, it's because we've gathered data for a long time. We know what has happened for the past 5, 10 years. So we can actually predict what's going to happen, right? Is predicting weather based, on patterns. Then the last one is prescriptive analysis. It's like giving advice on, what to do next. Having predicted the future, you know what's going to happen, right? You know where they're going to be, where when you're going to experience low sales, right? Then you start putting things in place to ensure. if they are going to be low sales within a given period, you can say, okay, for us to conserve costs within this period, we can lower the staff strength, right? Or we can, bring in a mixture or a variety of services or goods, like, right, that will drive more sales within this specific period. It's possible that during this time, your customers, right, they don't actually come to your supermarket because they do not find the products that they actually require within that period in your store. So you experience low sales, right? But then prescribing is like, okay, what are the next actions? What can you do next? Giving advice on what to do next, similar to a doctor prescribing medicine for an illness. So these are the 4 types of analysis. Again, descriptive analysis, diagnostic analysis, predictive analysis, and then prescriptive analysis. I hope you are following. Hi,
Yes,
Tosin.
we are.
Yeah, so like you said, questions are going to come at the end of the session, right?
Yes, please. They can begin to drop them in in the chat box,
Mm.
just so you're not interrupted, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
Oh,
sorry to step in. While you were away, so we discussed to get expectations from people. So I think 2 persons we were able to get from 2 persons. So one person is looking to understand how to get data, right, and how to filter data, how to get data, and how to filter this data. I think you're already addressing that via this different types of analysis. And the other
yeah.
person, yeah, made mention
Mm.
that we would like to know what are the challenges that would arise as even as she transitions into data analytics and how to overcome those challenges.
Oh, okay. Okay, so all of that actually they are covered in this in my slides. So as we proceed, I'll
Okay.
provide more details on that. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'll just continue. So the next question, why data analysis matters? Why does it matter? Why a business is looking for data analysts? Why a business is looking for, data architects? They are quite, interesting roles in data analysis. I don't know if you've heard of them before. There's data architect, there's data engineer. There's something called a data journalist, actually. um, there's something called a storyteller, just tell beautiful stories using your data as well. So why do they need this kind of people? And this is now a growing concern, or should I say not, let me not use the word a growing concern. This is now like a trend. People are, waking up from their slumber and taking advantage of um, their pool of data. Over the years, there's always data, because every time you step out, every day you go out, people are collecting your data. Businesses are collecting your data, but what are they using it for? Right. So it is this trend and the usefulness of data analysis, how it can be used for strategic planning, how it fits into strategic planning of the business. This is what is driving the importance, or driving the recruitment of data analysts across organizations, the finance sector, the healthcare sector, the retail sector, the power sector, the energy sector, the oil and gas sector. Across, there is no sector you will not find a data analyst. There is nowhere you cannot find a data analyst. They are everywhere. We are everywhere. Let me use that word. We are everywhere. So why does it matter? This is clearly why it matters. The key benefits of data analysis, right? At the center of it all is for improved decision making. That's just it. Improved decision making. Then if you now want to go into the details of it, right, you have identifying trends. Sorry, please. Identifying trends. So just like I said, if for example you've gone through your data for the past 10 years and you really want to understand why things are being the way they are, right, or to understand specific trends, to see specific trend, right, within the business, data analysis helps you to do that. And then also optimizing processes. So I was on a job one time for Coronation Insurance, and then I built a solution for them on customer metrics, right? So it gives you a picture like of the journey of customers from the point of onboarding to the point where to the point of withdrawal and the point where they close their account. So typically for insurance businesses, what you call account opening in banks, for insurance, it's called underwriting. On the underwriting process, you open an account, right? And then what you call withdrawal is called the claims process, where you claim where when you make a claim on an insurance policy. Right. So I was on this job for them and, just trying to understand their processes from the point where an account is open, is open to the point where the customer makes claims, right, both for retail and for corporate. So you had corporate underwriting, retail underwriting, you had corporate claims and retail claims as well, right? And then, we now got to find out several redundancies in the process. And for this reason, sometimes it takes up to 1 month, 2 months for a client or a customer to make a claim on their insurance policy because of the redundant processes. This unit will have to review and approve, then it goes to this unit, they have to review and approve, and a lot. So what I did on that job was to gather information based on how long it takes for each request to move from one point to the other. And at the end of the day, it was discovered that for some policies, particularly for some policies which has to do more, for example, if you have a car accident, for typical cases like that. And of course, the Nigerian business, they really want to be very careful so that they can save money as well, right? But then we at the end of the day, you just realize that these things, can be done faster. These things, some processes can actually be taken out of the way, right? And makes it faster, because at the end of the day, what you want to try to do is you want to try to satisfy the needs of the customers, right? You want to you want the customer to be happy, right? Because the focus is always on the customer. So at the end of the day, what happened in that project is some processes were discovered, some processes that were redundant, we actually identified, right? And then we made recommendations to Coronation Insurance, right? And well, whatever they did with the recommendation, that's not part of the scope of our job, but that was what we did for them. Then improved performance. If you've gone through your data and then you discover that okay, there are some things that could be done better, right? There are services that you can introduce that will drive sales or that will drive customer onboarding. You can introduce those services, right? And then for competitive, I don't know why, sorry. Okay, competitive advantage. So it's just being able to stand out from your peers. We have different banks in Nigeria, but just a few of them are standing out. And what can actually help with this is when there's in the data, right? There's so much data on the internet, on social media space. People have needs. There are so many things that people want to be done better. For a company to advance and to start, they need to listen. There's something called web scraping, where you scrape data from the web, right? You scrape data, and then you try to listen in on what customers are saying about you, where you need to make an improvement. Because most times, to be honest, the executive guys, they can just be there. They don't really understand what's happening or what's going right. But if they put these solutions in place to to listen to what customers are saying out there, they can make better decisions. And then the next one is customer understanding your customers. I worked on one job, was it last year or so? It was on customer analytics, just to understand customer behaviors, just to understand customer behaviors based on their demography, based on their age group, their locations, based on their professions as well, right? To understand that, okay, for how many of these customers have these kinds of bank accounts, right? Where are these kind of bank accounts prevalent in? Then you now get to understand that most times you find maybe farmers or traders, then you get to find out that just they only open a specific bank account, right? Having that understanding can actually help you to improve on your processes. It's either you can make your current processes to be better, or introduce better products and services that well aligns to their needs and their wants as well. So this actually helps in understanding your customer as well. And then lastly, risk management, to manage risk. When you understand, maybe when you understand the trend around a thing, why a particular incident has actually occurred and reoccurring over the years as well, and then you see you are able to deduct the risk factors. You can put some strategies in place, right? Because if you are able to understand the past, and then you can predict the future, and then you can actually see that there is a risk if this particular trend continues. It's possible that if this trend continues, we might go into extinction, right? If this trend continues, we might actually go bankrupt. Okay, what do we do? You outline the risk factors, you outline remedies, to actually tackle these risks and to remediate them. So basically, all of these: identifying trends, optimizing processes, improve performance, competitive advantage, customer understanding, and risk management, they all drive improved decision making. That's just the whole conclusion about this, because it is what you are able to get from all of these these benefits that would actually help you make improved decision for the business. Then steps to master data analysis skills and tools. So I think at this point we'll be heading closely. We're not heading to the technical bit of it. For some of us that may be tired of hearing stories, right? So going right into it, breaking down the data analysis process, using steps as well as skills and tools. So I think here I'll be addressing that second question. How you, or was it the first one? How you get data, or how you collect.
Yeah, the second one.
Oh, yes, the
Yeah.
second one. Yeah, how you gather data, right? So there are steps, and how you collect data itself is not even the first step. Is actually the second step, because the second step, collecting your data, is largely influenced by understanding the problem. When you define the problem or the question, you understand the question. There's a task, there's something that the business is trying to achieve, right? You need to understand what the business wants before you even know where to collect data from, because there are different data sources, right? There are data, there's some data that are lying down in then silos, different places. There are some on databases, you have some on personal computers of the staff, some on, Excel sheets somewhere. Some of them are even hard copy data that have not even, been entered into the system, right? So first of all, you need to understand what the problem is and the question being asked. What are they trying to achieve? Yeah, what are they trying to achieve? So we need to understand that as well. So when you have the grasp of that, when you properly understand that, then you know how to collect your data, where to collect your data, collect and explore data. And so collecting data, so there are different sources, and I think I've mentioned a few of them. You can collect data from servers or from databases of your organization. You can collect data from, should I say, internally maintained data sets. It can be within personal PCs. It can be within a mainframe computer. It can be on papers, lying around, data that has not been well consolidated. So recently I worked on a strategy, cloud-based, sorry, I'm not trying to be so technical, but I'm just trying to drive a point here. I worked on a strategy, cloud-based data warehouse implementation, right? So what it does typically is to get data from different sources, integrate them, consolidate them into a single source where you can now carry out your analysis. But for this case now, it was done on cloud. So you do not have to have the physical infrastructure around you or have your servers hosted on premise, right? It is hosted on the cloud. So there are different cloud providers. So the whole point is for you to have a seamless analysis. Data has to be properly collected from the different sources and then integrated. If this is not done properly, you are going to have a challenge building your model. You are going to actually struggle building your models, even struggle and analyzing your data as well, right? So after collecting and exploring your data from different sources, you then do like a cleanup and then you prepare your data. So there's something called ETL. I don't know if you've heard of it before. It means extraction, transform, and load. So extraction is ingesting your data, collecting your data. Transformation is when you do your cleanup, data cleansing. Sorry. When you do your data cleansing on what you have collected, right? Because whatever you've collected has to be aligned to the whole purpose of what you're trying to do. You have to clean your data. Sometimes the data may not be wrong per se, or the data may not be dirty, but because of what you want to use it for, you need to transform data, from how it was before to how you want it to be. So there's something called transformation logic and data mapping. So transformation logics are used to actually clean your data, right? To make your data ready for consumption or ready for use. Then data mapping, sometimes this can also be termed as data conversion. So let's say in your legacy system. So by legacy system, I mean the existing solution, right? You have the IDs, or which is called the primary key, or the IDs per se. They are in the format that it is currently, and then you want to try, because of the new system or because of the way you want to represent your data, you have to do some sort of data mapping to convert what you had before and to what you want it to be now. And this would require you to do some form of should I say, querying using some select specific methodology or algorithm, right, to transform your data automatically, right? So even if you are adding more data from your source, you don't need to go back and go through all that process alone, because you have automated the whole process. So that's for clean and prepared data. And then analyze data using appropriate techniques. How do you analyze your data? What do you use to analyze your data? So if, for example, you have a sales data for the past, let's say for the past 5-10 years, and then you want to do like a month-on-month analysis, or you want to do a year-on-year analysis. So don't worry, with time, in your data journey, you would get to understand these terms. So you want to understand, you want to do a year-on-year analysis. So you need to analyze your data, writing specific queries, writing specific programs. You can do this using Power BI, you can do this using Excel. Yeah, we'll talk about the tools later. Right, so that's it on analyzing your data using appropriate techniques, using statistical method. It can be simple, it can be advanced, depending on the use case and what you're trying to achieve. And then step 5 is interpreting results and then drawing conclusions. Now, you've analyzed your data, right? So what you then do, you then need to visualize. It is the visualization that now helps you to interpret your results. Okay, what can you see? What can you find? Right? What is the trend looking like? Right? Did you notice an outlier, or did you notice, for example, and an error in your data? Does it make sense to you? Can you really explain the challenges that the business are currently facing? So this is all involved in interpreting results and drawing conclusions. Then lastly, communicate your findings effectively. You then need to effectively communicate your findings. So let's say you have a presentation before the board or before the ESCOs. You then need to develop a high level sort of documentation, right, to communicate your findings. What did we find? What can we see? What we have analyzed? Yeah. So basically, these are just the steps. Define the problem, understand the problem, then you collect your data, you prepare your data, you analyze your data, you interpret your results, and then you communicate your findings, right? And then to help us, for this in these steps, there are skills that we need to have. There are skills that we need to develop. So truth is, don't get too carried away with the skills, basically, because most times it is actually better to learn on the job. Because I know that even when I eventually transited, I was clueless about some things. And don't be scared to say, or don't be reluctant to say that you can do it. We had a job. So an announcement was made, something we needed to do something. So we are trying to do a sort of migration from our legacy applications. From it, we are using, so it's a CRM engagement. Right. So for our case, it's called an ERP solution. ERP means enterprise resource planning. So basically, it's what you use in the business administration. You have the data of your staff. You have training plans. You have leave plans. You just have a lot, timesheet and the rest, right? So we needed to, and then also jobs, clients, they are all hosted within that platform. So we needed to migrate, and then a simple question was asked: who is skilled, or who is interested in this job? Because the job was about the job required SQL skills. Before that point, I'm saying this, before that point, I had no clue, on how to use SQL hands-on. I had done a bit of, studying, and I think I started the training at some points before then, but I've never had hands-on experience. Right. But then, I don't know what pushed me or what made me, and I signified that I was interested, right? I had no clue what was going to happen, right? But I started. I took on the job. The first week, you see that first week, I could not do anything. I was just using the first week to research. I was using the first week to get my hands dirty, to do a few things. Google became my friend. I was asking a lot of questions. I was doing this, plus my training, the training that I did before, right? And I started eventually. So at the end of the day, I was able to develop 2 scripts. These were not complex SQL scripts. No, sorry, these were not simple SQL. They were complex. They were advanced, right? Querying. One was for jobs, client jobs, and the second one was for, work in progress for ledgers, within the firm. And I actually built those scripts from the scratch. I actually built, at the end of the day, I was actually surprised as to what I could do. Why? Because I said yes. So really, don't be scared. The best place to learn, it was in that job I was able to properly learn SQL programming in that job. It was at that point, it wasn't about the theory. When I get to a place I'm stuck, and to be honest, there are challenges. There are times I will just be stuck. I don't know what to do, problems. So what helped me is the internet was my friend. I was able to ask, because whatever problem you are going to be facing in data analysis, you are not the first to have encountered it. Just know that there are some, I'm trying to get the name for this. There are some communities that will help you, solve your problems on the internet. Some of them are actually hosted by Microsoft. Right? Just go and ask your questions. Go to GitHub as well. You will see several documentations, right? You see several, things that are able to address your many problems. Right. So do not hold back. So what I'm trying to say is you don't have to have all of these skills here to actually start from step 1. So the skills are what you have on your right. You don't have to have all of them start from step 1. You do not have to be able to understand statistical methods end to end for you to start with step 1. You don't have to, have a perfect understanding of data visualization before you start. Just start. Along the line, you would understand better. It will make sense. And you will actually appreciate yourself, for, making efforts, right? But then some of these skills are, statistical knowledge, data visualization, which is something as storytelling, how to visualize what you've analyzed, right? So it's basically interpreting your results and drawing conclusions. And then there's the programming bit of it, which is SQL, which is DAX. So DAX is for Power BI. It's a language dedicated for Power BI. And there's also Python, where you have your pandas, the numpys, and the matplotlib libraries. And then you also have critical thinking, very important. You have to be very patient. I think that's one skill that I should add there. You have to be very patient with yourself. You have to take time to analyze stuff and critically analyze things. Then domain expertise, industry knowledge. So for example, now, if you're doing a job for a client and it's in the finance space, the finance sector, you need to try to equip yourself with financial knowledge. All right, you need to understand some of their models. Cutting across trade, you cut across treasury, you cut across core banking, and the lending business. Just try to have an understanding. You don't need to have you don't need to have a very good understanding, but just have something that would help you to at least start. Yeah, so have a domain expertise. Yeah, so underlining to all of these, right? What are the tools that will help you in this process? In navigating through your career in data analysis. There are different skills. There are different tools. There's Excel, there's Tableau, there's Power BI, there's Python, there's RStudio, and there's SQL. But my candid advice, I would personally advise you, if you really want to start, first stuff in this tool here is start with Excel, right? don't think that Excel is it's just Excel, where you write numbers, you do plus minus. There's so much that Excel can do. There's so much, right? So much Excel can do. You can build queries. You can actually do what Power BI can do in Excel, just that Power BI is more advanced and provides, more features and more um, integrating points, right, with Microsoft and then Azure environment. So, but then what I was trying to say is try to improve your skills in Excel. Have a very good understanding of Excel. If you can understand Excel properly, you will do well in the rest. You will do well in Power BI. You will do well in Tableau. You will do well in SQL, right? But if you ask me to start, okay, let's say if we want to streamline, all of these tools to three, right? For a start, you can have Excel, you can have Power BI, and then you can have SQL. Have SQL. So it's either Power BI or Tableau, right? But majorly businesses use Power BI. But depending on the architecture of the business, their existing solutions, how they can easily integrate with the um, analytic tool, right? That would go a long way, to help you to make you to understand what you need to use or what you'll be using, right? But most businesses in Nigeria, they use Microsoft. People use Excel, people use Outlook, people use Teams, Microsoft, suits in general. And for this purpose, most time these businesses they will actually go with Power BI. So mostly go with Power BI because of how it's easily integrates with their already existing, Microsoft suites of applications. Right. So that being said, right, just try to get your hands dirty, with these tools. There are several projects, free projects on the internet. Just search, go through, and then you will see, how to get your hands dirty, improve on your skills. The point is, um, you have to you just have to put yourself out there that this is what you can do. You have to be able to show it. Yeah, you can also build a portfolio of things you've done, the solutions you've built, right, the dashboards you've created, the reports you've built, nicely interpreted data, having wonderful stories, addressing business concerns, helping them in their strategic decisions. Right. So, going from this, I think so. This will also address the first question. So, what are the challenges in data analysis?
Hi, Emeka.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. I think from here, what we can see is your slide 7. Okay, I was going to call your attention to that.
Okay. Can you see my slide now?
Yes, we were previously seeing slide 7.
What was slide
Okay.
7 saying?
It was still talking about the different. I think you just took it away. The slide before your steps to master data analysis skills and tools.
Oh, this one.
No, not this. The 7.
Okay, this.
I guess probably network is even
Okay.
a challenge.
Okay.
Okay, just take us to the slide we should be in now so that we just.
Okay. Oh, slide 7. Okay, slide 7 was this. Okay, so
Yeah.
Okay, but did anyone see this slide?
Not at all. We got I got the whole explanation and all, but we didn't. There was not a visual backup for it. But
Back
I
up for
guess,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
I guess they understood because somebody dropped a question. I think 1 or 2 questions in the chat box. So I want to believe they followed through as well.
Okay. Anyway, so this was the slide I was speaking to. I think there's an issue with my navigation. Okay. But so I want to move from this slide to the next. Just confirm if it changes at your end. Okay, what can you see now?
Still breaking down the data analysis process into steps as well as skills and tools.
Okay.
Okay, just change the challenges.
Yeah, I don't want to have it in this view because people may not see it very well. Okay, I think I know what to do. Okay, can you see it now? I think it's better this way.
Yeah.
Challenges. Okay. So let me just leave this for like maybe a few seconds. Anyway, so this is what I was actually trying to explain: the different steps and then the skills that are required, right? From step 1 to step 6, and then the underlining tools, right, that would help you in your data analysis journey. Yeah, breaking down the data analysis process into steps as well as skills and tools. Yeah. Okay, so I think I'll just move to the next slide. Is that fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you see the new slide now? Challenges in data analysis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what are the challenges? Addressing common challenges in data analysis. So first off, is a challenge because it has a solution. It's a challenge because you can actually find a way around it. So data quality issues. You're going to face data quality issues, dirty data. I'm even telling you beforehand now. Can you see this slide? Dirty data, addressing common challenges. Can you see it?
Yeah. Addressing common challenges in data
Okay. Yeah.
analysis.
Data quality issues. You're going to face extremely dirty. There are some data that you get and you are just happy because half of your work has been done. But so visualization is not really, or the reporting itself or interpretation, that's not really where the work is. The work is in data cleansing, the ETL process, which is the extraction, transformation, and load, as well as building your models. So that's where the work is. And what actually help during this process is if your data is clean, or your data is okay to be used, right? But then it is just what it is. You are going to face, and depending on the challenges that the business has, right? Um, it's possible that they are going to bring data from sources that they never even knew existed before. All right, because no one has been paying attention to these data sets. Nothing has been done to them. They're just there. And for sometimes, even in banks, I've actually experienced this. And when people collect data from people, there's no form of data validation done. They just collect data anyhow, and then they just store the data anyhow, right? And then they use funny characters, and that's actually going to be a challenge to you. There are some times where, okay, you have different sources of data, and for each source, each data source has the customer name, right? But in source 1, you have, let's say you have Michael Adeyemi, and then in source 2, you have Adeyemi Michael. So these are common challenges that you face with data. But then you have to find a way around it, right? And then data privacy concerns. Sometimes businesses may be so reluctant to actually give you data, or maybe it takes so much time because of how sensitive the data is, and they may not want to release it to you. And if they want to release the data to you, they might default some values, right, so that you do not have insights to their customer data, right? So these are also privacy concerns as well. And complex data sets. So there are times where you would have, so there's something called data modeling when you have, or should I say, yes, data modeling, or maybe the structure of your database. So for example, for a data warehouse, it typically uses a star schema. which is, so it's either a star schema or a snowflake. So for okay, sorry. So for star schemas, you have different. You have a centralized or a single dimension table in the center of it, and then you now have fact tables. And these fact tables are usually connected or are usually linked, right, to the dimension table. So in a case where that linkage has not been created, where you don't have a proper data structure before you start that job, you may need to go back and create that structure. Or what you do is bring in the data, right? For example, into Power BI or Excel, and then you design the structure yourself. Design the flow. Data can be very complex sometimes, very complex. There can be a lot of work around it. And then interpretation biases, right? This is when you allow yourself to be subjective when interpreting data, or you become so sensitive, you discover a particular trend, and then you do not drill down to further investigate what is causing, what is actually causing and what has caused that trend. There might be some underlying factors as to why we've had that trend for years or for months, right? But then maybe you just assume that this is why this problem exists, right? But that shouldn't be the case as a data analyst. Never allow yourself to be subjective. Always be objective. Never allow yourself to be sentimental. Leave your sentiments aside, right? Let the numbers tell you what it is. Do not assume, especially when you're presenting to board of directors, to ESCOs, or to management. You have to communicate to them what the data or what your data is saying. Right. Then, so tips for success. So regardless of the challenges, or the stumbling blocks, or the bottlenecks or obstacles you might face, there are tips for success. Always define clear objectives right from the beginning. Understand the problem. Have a clear objective of what you're trying to achieve. Have it defined, properly defined. Know what you are in for, what you're trying to achieve. If possible, take proper note of proper documentation. Most times you can design a business requirements, right? Maybe where the product manager or the product owner, right, hands over, or you can ask for it as actually the business requirement. What do they want to see? What do they want to achieve, with this solution or with this tool, right? So the next is use a mix of analytics tools. So in as much as you should start small, start with Excel, and then you advance to Power BI, you advance to SQL. Try as much as possible to also, try to get your hands dirty in Python, get your hands dirty in R programming as well. Have, little understanding, of the available tools to you, because the truth is you may want to try to achieve something that Excel may not allow you to do, or you may discover some constraints, right? And then you then have to use a different tool entirely, or maybe the company you find yourself, or the job you get, right, they don't use Power BI, they use something else. So how do you cope? Where do you start from, right? Then also validate and verify your data. There's something called data validation. Is validating that what you have, or what you've gathered, or what you have imported into your solution is actually complete and accurate, comparing it to what you have in the originating solution. Always validate your data. Always validate your data. Make sure that validation happens. Ensure that what you are analyzing is the correct data, right? And then lastly is the continuously upskill and learn new techniques. Upskill. Since I started my career, I've acquired certifications, Microsoft certified data analyst associate, data engineering. I have one by June. Sorry, I'm writing one by the end of May, right? Implementing um, enterprise skills, enterprise scale analytics solution using Azure Fabrics, right? And then there's also another one coming after that. And then for Microsoft, at some point, I would have to, renew my certification. So, right, new technologies are coming in. You need to keep yourself updated with the trends, with the global trends. Right.
Hi everyone, can we hear me? Okay, I guess it's Emeka's network. All right. I hope we are beginning on a lot
Without
from
big
this
data
session.
analytics,
Okay.
companies are blind and deaf. They're actually blind and deaf. Right. This was said by Geoffrey Moore, an American management consultant and author known for his work on business strategies for technology companies. So it's very important for strategic decision-making processes, understanding your data, right, and having proper insight as to what has happened over time, understanding the trends of what has happened over time within the business, and even as it has to do, with external businesses as well, what's happening in the public domain, right? What you can find on social media platform. There's data everywhere, and there's a lot you can, make out of it. Thank you very much. I come to the end of this session, and I hope it was
Thank
well
you.
enlightening. Yeah.
It was, guys. Let's clap for Emeka. It's been an amazing session. Thank you so much, Emeka. Just going to
You're
stop the
welcome.
recording now. All right, that was amazing. Okay.